the most penalizing rule that you can encounter on the golf course is, of course, out of bounds, and that is any time that you leave the predetermined boundaries of the golf course. And those are typically marked with either a white line marked with paint on the ground, or white stakes like the one you see up the hill here behind me. But also in some cases it can be marked with either man-made or natural barriers, such as washes and rivers and creeks, or again, like this fence that we have up in this homeowner's yard here behind me. Those sorts of barriers are used as well anytime that your ball touches any part of that line. And if you had no distinct wall or line painted on the ground, what you would do is you would draw an imaginary line from one white stake to the next one ahead, and you'd go straight across to it. And if your ball is touching any part of that line, then your ball is out of bounds, and you would have to either go back to the tee and hit another tee shot with a penalty stroke, or you can take advantage of the new model local rule that the USGA has implemented, where you're able to go to the point, from the point where you went out of bounds, straight across into the fairway and 2 club lengths into the fairway for a 2-stroke penalty. So it basically cuts out that need for you to go back and re-tee your shot, and really that's a preferred option in most cases, because you can always hit that tee shot out of bounds again, which really starts adding your score up quickly. So again, you look for either the white stakes or the white lines. You can also find some natural or man-made barriers as well that'll be used for out of bounds. And then if you do end up touching any part of that line, or if you're on the other side of that line, your ball is out of bounds, and you'd have to take relief with one of those options that I mentioned. Now, the only other scenario to consider here would be if you wanted to play a provisional ball. If your tee shot looks like it went out of bounds, but you're not quite sure if it is, and you want to avoid having to go back and re-tee or taking that other model local rule option, then what you can do is you can play a provisional ball, which is where you hit another tee shot, just in case when you get up there you do find that your ball is out of bounds. And if that's the case, then you can go ahead and abandon that ball and play the provisional ball instead. But if you do find your original ball and it is in play, then you're going to have to play it no matter what. So again, you always want to try to avoid out of bounds. It's the worst penalty that you can have in golf. But if you do find yourself in one of those areas, how do you identify it? We look for those white lines and stakes, or those barriers. And then if you need to take relief for it, you take one of the options that I mentioned previously.